climate emergency powers declaration to enact shutdowns of the energy industry and our society at large is feared by certain energy executives. An influential supporter of the U.S. oil and gas business warns that President Joe Biden appears to be coming under increasing pressure to declare a climate emergency, similar to that one that was called for the recent bug that went around epidemic, which has tremendous impact on the nation. Tim Stewart, president of the U.S. Oil and Gas Association, recently said they're leaning in that direction. If you grant the president emergency powers and declare a climate emergency, it's just like, in my words, that unspeakable Mexican beer bug. Okay, he didn't say that, but I can't say the words he used on this platform, or I shouldn't. It dings you. Freedom of speech is so lovely, right? Oh my gosh. Also emphasized by Stewart was the fact that such a proclamation would give the president vast and unchecked authority to shut down everything from communications to infrastructure. Now, just like our friends that are coming across the border. Yeah, he claimed that the infrastructure would include both water and electricity, and that under such a statement, Biden could also freeze your assets, or the assets of the energy companies, or whoever is not towing the line. I added that, though, not what Tim Stewart said. Okay, President Trump proclaimed an emergency in 2020 for that unspeakable bugdemic, which resulted in the closing of American borders. And maybe that was a good thing. But President Joe B. established a requirement that all federal government personnel, employees, receive those unspeakable jabs. Oh, yeah. With many firms likewise shut down for months and even years that followed, the nation endured record unemployment and inflation. And we have not recovered as yet truly from those shutdowns. In light of what was claimed to be the warmest month ever, and worries about the heat that resulted as a result of so-called global warming brought on by the, as they claim, greenhouse emissions, calls for Biden to declare a climate emergency appear to be getting louder. Recent legislation requiring that Biden make up such a proclamation was presented by Oregon Representative Earl Blumenauer. I hope I said that correctly, and included the support of, you'd never guess it, 62 congressional Democrats. Demon rats, yeah, okay. If they support this big shutdown, I would say, yeah, what I said earlier. In a recent opinion piece that was put out, Biden was urged to declare an emergency, a climate emergency, that is, by The Guardian. Oh, yeah, boy, aren't they our guards? He must act right away, they demanded. Presidential emergency powers, which may be explicitly or tacitly expressed by the Constitution, so they claim, yeah, may be exercised, according to them, in the event that the nation is threatened by a crisis, exigency, or emergency circumstances, according to the Congressional Research Service. They can literally do exactly what they did in the, I will use my words here instead of Tim Stewart's, the unspeakable bug shutdowns, Stewart claimed. Oh, yeah. Biden has frequently claimed that the world is experiencing a climate crisis and has referred to it as an emergency in numerous circumstances, numerous occasions. You can see they're paving a road, they're making a way for this declaration. The nonprofit Center for Biological Diversity, if they're interested in biological diversity, why is it they're not really going after the chemicals in their environment that are altering the hormones in animals across the world that's resulting in smaller litter sizes and decreases in animal populations? They blame everything on what they're claiming is the climate crisis. No, we're not talking about the chemicals, because that would have big industry can't do that. Not big pharma and all that stuff. Not their buddies. All right. Anyway, so the Center for Biological Diversity published a legal guide after the great reservoir of constitutional knowledge and our freedoms and rights. Yeah, right. Anyway, it stated that Biden, under an emergency declaration, could restrict fossil fuel exports and in hundreds of billions of dollars in overseas fossil fuel investments and end crude oil exports and end all offshore and gas leasing. Wow. You know what they're saying here? That's huge. And in fact, Biden has already caved in to the environmentalists on this drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. So they're already heading in this direction. But it also claims that he could also hasten the transition to so-called clean energy. You know what I've said about that? You know, I pointed out other studies that actually indicate that when they include the carbon capture in the exhaust of the natural gas fired power plants, are up to 5 times less carbon emitted into the atmosphere than the total life cycle system of mining and producing photovoltaic cells. And that also doesn't account for the fact a lot of these photovoltaic cells are placed in areas in the desert where they're causing the death of 10,000-year-old massive root structures underground that's claimed to release enormous amounts of carbon into the atmosphere from roots that have been there for 10,000 years for the sake of solar panels that last 25 years and then go into the toxic waste dump. So if you look at it from a total systems engineering analysis of all the inputs and outputs, where does it really stand? Is this really clean energy? Hey, I'm for clean energy. I'm for the environment. But it looks to me more like this is a system of control. And of course, who do we get these so-called clean energy systems, the batteries and most of the solar cells from? Oh yeah, our good friends in Dragon Country. Yeah, beautiful, lovely. And just as soon as we get it all developed, they got their Volt Typhoon hacking virus installed. They got their control systems and our transformers that could just shut them down. Lovely. And of course, sleeper cells here in America. Anyway, Stewart also noted that opponents of the so-called unspeakable bug restrictions on masks and jabs, proclaiming that an emergency might lead to censorship of individuals who disagree about the climate crisis. Speech can be silenced if a speaker disagrees with the urgency of the climate crisis, according to Stewart. Well, everything we've seen, can you argue with that? He said the following. He says, we really need to pay attention to that because that power might be continued continuously until the climate emergency is resolved, which is essentially forever. Oh, yeah. You know, guys, there was a paper that just came out that said, gee, if we remove all the CO2 that we put into the atmosphere from that, we'll quit emitting CO2 right now. And if we remove it all, because the momentum of the system we've already set, and I don't know how they explain this. And this sounds like Boulder Dash. And we take all the CO2 out of the atmosphere that we put in the atmosphere, and we do this, that, and the other. Oh, this will continue for decades, 50 years. But of course, China's not going along with this anyway. China says, no, we ain't got to go along with you. We're going to keep building our dirty coal power plants to make them solar cells for you. Yeah, we're going to keep building coal fire plants. We're going to continue. We're not going to abide by the Paris Accord. That's the kind of message that's coming from Xi Jinping, in spite of John Kerry having went over and got down on his knees and pleaded with Xi Jinping. Yeah, some good that did, right? As Kerry flew around all over the world, just dozens and dozens of trips on his big jet flying by himself. Oh yeah, putting out more CO2 than a small city all by himself, trying to limit CO2 being put out. You see where we're coming here, guys? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Anyway, Guys, I got the greenest concept of anybody, my universal habitat. You should see it in the videos. But anyway, recently the issue of whether Americans could be exposed to occasional electric grid blackouts was raised by a Los Angeles Times staff writer. He questioned, which is more important, fixing the climate crisis or keeping the lights on around the clock? According to Stewart, that piece represented a softening up of the public. What they're saying is, according to Stewart, it's your patriotic duty. Stewart stated that according to them, it's your moral or religious obligation to the state. You must obey the state. Religious obligation to the state. Good grief. Bow down to the state. It's not my fate. Since when do we have a religious obligation to a state? Wow. Wow. But you know, that's what they're really making. They're making us a religion. It seems. So it seems. Let's hope that's not the case. A lot of people are waking up to this, and the Congress, being chaired by the Republicans right now, seems to be questioning this stuff quite a bit. You need to go to the Freedom Restoration Foundation.org, click on the Action Center, scroll down to the bottom of how to contact your Congress critters and give them an earful. So, hey, we need to put the brakes on this. And yeah, we can have effectivity because if they get enough voters calling and jumping on their ears, they know for every call they get in, that represents hundreds of people that just don't do it. Hundreds of maybe thousands now. So you can punch over your weight by contacting these guys because they want to get, they want to get another vote. That's how they stay in their office and rake in all that money is by getting votes, and they want the votes. So that's how they stay there. I got to give a talk about Congress in general, how the system is run. That's a subject for another video. But guys, I know I have been at K Street. I've been in those offices where all these lobbyists dwell, the ones that write most of the legislation actually and put it before the Congress critters. I've been in many congressional offices. I've talked to a lot of congressional staff. I've run the halls of Congress. I've talked to congressmen. I've talked to senators. I was doing this when I was chairman of the policy committee of the National Space Society. This is a magazine for it. I had a big article in this magazine detailing how I basically essentially changed space policy. It's quite possible, guys. This is an article I wrote. You can do these things. Concerning constellations, cancellation, Congress, and camels. Tied all together in that article. Yeah, that was in winter 2010. Like I've said before, I like alliteration. Allison always alliterates. Green Gregs, Galactic Gregs. Yeah, check out my space channel over there. But guys, seriously, they might do this. They're seemingly leading up toward this direction. And what's going to happen is you're going to have your energy the least when you need it the most. When it gets hot, you're in a blackout. No AC, no fans. When it gets cold, no electric heat. Well, yeah, they want to get rid of your propane furnaces. They want to get rid of your propane stove. Yeah, see my last live session, or go over to my shorts on my Silverhead News YouTube channel and see my little ditty called Propane. Yeah, I did a longer version of that in my last live session on this channel toward the end, and I might do an entire piece just on that. It's kind of funny. Anyway, guys, so y'all need to see that. You can get a little revelation into what they're trying to pull on us and also have a little fun with it too. But guys, no, sing it to your congressman. Call him up and just sing the song. You don't want everybody calling in with the exact same message. So when you call a congressman, you need to know this is coming from people, from individuals, coming from your heart. One of the reasons we had such effectivity as the National Space Society was we were not an industry group. We were a collection of citizens across all spectrums of society. I worked in the industry. When I ran the halls, I'd take teams of people with me from all backgrounds. There would be truck drivers and doctors and and construction people and, housewives, and which is probably the highest profession of all. They belittle that, but guys, you know, they've done the most to nurture our children, which are our future. Bringing up another human being and making productive piece of our society is one of the highest callings there is, and they want to disparage that because they want the state to control the minds of your kids as they get run through all their public systems. Oh yeah, CCP is putting a lot of money into that too, right? So think about these things. We can prevent a lot of this from going so nutty, but we got to unite and work together on it. Just keep things in the realm of sanity. So what they're really doing, let me reiterate this. They are pushing systems they call green. I call it pseudo green because they actually are not taking carbon out of the atmosphere as they claim. Oh yeah, a solar panel, once it's built and sitting in your house, on your roof, out in the yard, no, it's not emitting any CO2 there. It's what it takes to get it there. And it also has got to include the slave labor of the Uyghurs. Those batteries got the slave labor of kids in Africa pulling cobalt out of mines, the lithium that's mined, which is controlled right now by our good friends working for Xi Jinping. Yeah, imagine that, guys. I do say that somewhat, just a little bit facetiously, right? So there you are. But we're not powerless. There's more of us than there are of them, and they know that. That's why they want to control us. That's why they want systems that entirely control us. If they can put us in systems where they, at their will, can just flip off the switch, force us into it, and then hold us to that, they're going to take all our money from us. They'll take all this stuff from us and give us CBDCs that they can jerk away at their will. Oh yeah, if they can just say, your money is on the good for a week, you got to spend it now, and you can't spend on just anything you want to. Oh no, don't go by that gas station. You use that, you try to buy me that, you go over, we're going to take your money. You're going to have a bad social credit system, a bad social credit score. You want your government check this week? Oh, no, 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 no. Of course, it won't be a check. It'll just be a CBDC deposit. That's their dream. But, the best plans of mice and men, their plans and the timelines have keep getting extended because they've not been able to make their goal. Now they're getting desperate. They're trying to force it. And they're going to extreme measures, including, I need to talk about this on some other channel. But guys, one thing you can do is keep some of your value in your own pocket instead of some digital bank account. That's why I'm going to do an interview here, I think Thursday, with some people from Defy the Grid. So check out the gold backs. These bills are actual gold. This is 1/1000th of a troy ounce. It's not backed by gold. It is gold. You can find them at Defy the Grid. There's a link below. Use the code GREENGREGS, as you'll see listed below, GREENGREGS, GREENGREGS, just like my channel name, and you'll get 1% off. So I think, you can also buy coin, silver, bars there. You can do that, and you can, and they say that if you can find a better price anywhere else, they'll meet it or beat it. Now, how can you beat that? How can you beat that? That's a pretty good deal if you want to do that kind of thing. Of course, Mike, get your beans and rice stuck up. We're going to have some food shortages, guys. I'm expecting with the BRICS thing coming out, we're going to most likely see some very big inflation. I'm really expecting food prices if nothing else. And given what we're talking about doing here, energy prices. And of course, as energy prices go up, everything goes up. Yeah. You shut down the drilling in the Gulf of Mexico and all these leases and that they're talking about here. If that happens, also about this warmest, hottest month ever. Yeah, we had a heat dome in the Southwest. It's weather. It's not climate. If you remember seeing some of the old curves on temperature, it used to be posted showing how it was so much warmer in the medieval warm period and other periods, and how and this interglacial that we're in, which we're heading toward the end of, how the temperature has been doing this. You know, the graphs they show now don't show that previous something, but just the data, it seems, you know, need to check that out. Anyway, my friends, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Just keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. Hey, I support true green. I support the true environment. I say, guys, we've got to get all these chemicals out of our environment. And it includes the stuff that comes from big pharma. That's some of the worst chemicals that goes out of our through our bodies, through, you know, right back out in the environment, into the fish and the birds and the turtles and the frogs and the bugs, and it's affected our world. Oh yeah, that stuff's supposed to be good. Yeah, I can't tell you that to go do something using herb or something like that. Oh, no, they don't want that. They don't. Yeah, they would like for you to have to take all your supplements by prescription, which would cost you a lot more, and you might not get them. You know, because you got to have a condition to get a prescription. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Just think about heartworm medicine. You used to go to Walmart and buy it. Now you got to get a prescription for it, just to help your dog out. Now, why does that have to be a prescription? Who was using heartworm medicine illicitly? Yeah, right. Anyway, guys, I don't know. If you think otherwise, tell me so in the chat below. If you value what I've said here, share this video widely. The platform is not going to help this video get out and about. Share this widely. Share it. Give me a thumbs up. Leave comments below. And once again, thank you for watching. And with that, I'm going to say, Greg out.